You know what? Let me give you my statistical analysis. There's a 100% chance that you're gonna be somebody's 10 years of this. You know what that is? That's a big black man on your You, too late, he done tagged the next guy in. That's like a rabbit. Oh, I like his hair. He's breathing on you. That's disgusting. You deserve everything you're getting. Good luck on survival, sir.
Kash, how much money did you spend defending yourself against illegal and immoral prosecutions by the Biden DOJ?
Oh man, I guess I got to go back and tabulate that, but that number was definitely high six figures, and that was the price just for me. And
Yes.
Listen, at the end of the day, I probably had it light.
Yes.
So many people didn't, and I had support, and others didn't, and it was just a tragic way for Washington D.C. to utilize our Constitution unconstitutionally.
You were enemy number one, if I recall. Not kind to get nostalgic here, but if I recall, you were enemy number one after the first Trump administration. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely attacked. I still get attacked, and
You're one of the first guys they dragged in, though, right?
Yeah,
You're one of the first guys. Yeah.
They didn't like the truth about Russiagate ever coming out. Then they didn't like they used that as their MO for basically every other operation they launched. And listen, you bravely reported the truth. President Trump led the mission for the truth, and the country just returned a mandate for the truth.
Yes, that's right. These son of bitches have to pay, though, man. I mean, like, to reset the tables, people are going to have faith in their institutions, and they're going to have to see the rot evicted and pulled, literally ripped out, right? Like a cancer. Can you talk me through, obviously you have the president's ear, and you've probably been thinking about this for a while, Kash. What are some of the first big steps that must be taken?
Yeah, look, in my opinion, I mean, I've made them public before. They're in the book, Government Gangsters, in the movie. That's like President Trump called it the roadmap for 2024, and now let's put it into work. Basically, in the way, and you might be surprised here, the way I view accountability is not to have a list of people and say, I want this person, that person, this person, that person. The way for me to view full-term accountability is to clear out the rot in Washington, utilizing the Constitution and exposing the corruption so the American people can see, touch, and feel it themselves rather than be dictated to them what it is and might look like. So it's a multi-term thing. It's a multifaceted thing. One, you need great leadership at the agencies and departments in terms of personnel, but you also need to go 6, 8, 10 rungs down that ladder. You got to make sure everybody is rowing in the direction of the duly elected president of the United States and his agenda. If you can couple that with constitutional oversight, like actual righteous constitutional oversight, just to think about this, Benny, you can get out all the remaining documents that were blocked by those in Washington, D.C. You can get out new documents if you want more information on, say, JFK or whatever, right? Whatever is important to the American people. I've always advocated for a Truth and Transparency Commission to be stood up on a 24/7 basis to say, hey, this is what America's interested in. Have someone, at the White House looking at that for the president and saying, this is of great importance, this isn't, and then have the ability to go to the intelligence community and say, look, this is getting declassified, or at least almost all of it is, because the classification system is critically important. I'll be the first one to tell you that, but I'll also be the first one to tell you I've caught them using it to cover up government corruption. So for me, it's like a full, bigger project of using the Constitution to just clean out DC.
Now, as somebody who's obviously held some of the highest rankings inside the Pentagon, and you've handled thousands, if not tens of thousands of classified papers, how would the president is the person who has the right to classify or declassify? You've been on this program talking about this extensively. And so ultimately, it really does lie with President Trump and those around him who are advising him as to what we can learn and when, yes?
Yeah, so the president is the final arbiter and ultimate arbiter, I should say, of classification. There's a couple of other people that can do it, like the director of national intelligence and maybe one or two other folks who have that power vested to them either by the president or statute. But yes, at the end of the day, the president can be like, I want all that out the door. And it goes out the door. And you can sort of fold it into Elon Musk's Department of Government, the Doge project, whatever he calls it. And
Doge.
say, Doge. And say, look, you want government efficiency, Well, then let's expose the inefficiencies of government for the American people to see. Like, how do we lose? Not spend and waste. How do we lose multiple billions of dollars in the Ukraine? We lost it. We didn't. It didn't light on fire. We physically can't find the money. Yes. That's unacceptable. That's just one example. And then when we go back to DOJ and FBI, we still don't have all the list, all the FISAs, all of the stuff they did to 275,000 Americans illegally in 1 year. Put that out there. I'm not saying put in the recipe on how to do it. We can keep the hood on the engine, but we can show the American people how they violated our rights. And to me, what you said is the most important: restoring trust.
Yes.
In our agencies and departments. That the way to do that is not to get a piñata and just punch them mercilessly and hoping for some bubble gum to pop out. The way to do that is to literally give the American people the truth. And that's what they feared about Donald Trump. He's going to come in there and maybe give him the Epstein list and maybe give him the P. Diddy list. You know, he's going to come up there and maybe do all these things, and they are terrified.
Yeah, I believe that's part of the reason why Jimmy Kimmel was crying last night on his program. But also, I believe that this is something that the American public desperately want. And most importantly, this is how you restore honor and how you restore trust. Now, many may not know, some will, that you are personally responsible for the research on the Russiagate collusion. Everything we know about Russiagate, and we know maybe like less than half of what really happened with Russiagate, Kash Patel is the one who found it out with Devin Nunes. So, Kash, you have an excellent pedigree in rooting out the truth. Will we get the full Diddy list? Will we get Epstein? Will we get JFK? Will we get the rest of what happened with Russia collusion?
That's what I want. That's what I want as me as an American citizen. That's what I want in terms of achieving that restoration of respect for government in DC that's been gone for like 50, 60 years, right? I had said on the campaign trail when I was on the Team Trump bus tour or surrogate somewhere, I said, America has a chance to retire the dynastic families that have rained down corruption in Washington, D.C. on November 5th. You could have retired the Bushes, the Cheneys, the Clintons, and the Obamas. And you know what, Benny? For the first time, I get to say they did. And part of that mandate that they delivered to Donald Trump is simply they want the truth.
Yes.
And I don't know why it has been, well, I do know why, but I believe and hope President Trump is going to go in there and just be a vehicle, a conveyor belt for the truth, and just put it out nonstop. Yes. Agriculture department, education, labor, all of it, everywhere. And Congress is going to play such a critical role in these oversight investigations. Just think of what you can accomplish if you have a director or a secretary who actually works with the Republican chairman or chairwoman on oversight. It's incredible, not just for corruption revelation purposes, but to see how we actually budget and stop lighting your money on fire.
So, Kash, and here's, you hit the trail for President Trump. You were out, you were talking to these incredible grassroots groups all around the country. Your work was successful. You were victorious. And now we've entered the new American golden age. And perhaps this is why Nancy Pelosi looks like this. I wanted to get your take on this photo because you would have better insight than most since you were in the same Congress as Nancy Pelosi. Why does Nancy Pelosi look like this today? This photo was taken less than 12 hours ago.
Oh, you mean that's not CCPAI? Look, I think at the end of the day, the people that are making a lot of these emotional responses for public purposes and aren't actually real are the ones that are afraid that President Trump is going to reveal the corruption
yes.
that has taken over Washington, D.C. And she's been there for I don't know. You want to talk about corruption? How about all of your insider trading that you got away with? Let's just leave it at that. Forget the rest. Just that alone. Why isn't America allowed to trade on the information you trade on and make millions? Her piggy bank is about to be cracked open.
I mean, Martha Stewart went to prison, federal prison, for insider trading. Why not Nancy Pelosi?
No, it's just, what I think, and this is totally my opinion, the thing that pisses people off the most is hypocrisy. And the thing about Washington, D.C. is they have created two separate universes, one that they live in and one that everybody else gets to live in. And they dictate over the other one. And America's sick and tired of that two-tier version of whatever you want to call it, justice, intel, whatever it is. They're sick and tired of it. They're just like, hey, if I broke the law, I get arrested. If you broke the law, you should get arrested. You shouldn't get a get out of jail free pass. You shouldn't get a hall pass like Hillary Clinton did for everything related to Russiagate and the classified document scandal. I mean, that was a righteous violation of federal law. And America also looked at Donald Trump and said, wait a second, this guy, who, whether you like him or not, he just got run up 4 times on indictments, and they gave Joe Biden a pass in the middle of an election season. And then DOJ saying, oh, we never get involved in elections. You literally did the opposite by manufacturing a case on Constitution against one client and giving one candidate and giving the other guy a total hall pass. America is fed up with that 2-tier alternate sets of realities, and they're tired of being ridden by these overlords.
I must get, Kash, your takes on AG, on Secretary of Defense, on Homeland Security. I got to tell you, bro, like, Agriculture Secretary, Department of the Interior, that's fun. I look forward to it. I have a feeling those are going to be some of our best friends there. But the ones I will be focused on will be DHS, the Attorney General, and who's running our military. Those are the ones that this show will care about. So can you tell us, where is the status there? Who would you like to see? Do you have names that you like?
I have names, but I'm not going to, try to get out in front of my friends who I think would be brilliant in those positions. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't agree with you more that President Trump has this bench from the first administration on that he can install into these positions you're talking about. And I agree, the critically important roles of those national security posts and those chiefs of staff and everything. He's got some brilliant names to choose from. And if they get together and start rowing on the same team, we will literally see a golden age of America. And so right now, I just want to keep fighting if and where they ask me to fight, and help, just help the transition, help whatever I can, because, until the president decides otherwise, we're just here to put forward the best names until he makes a selection. And I think we're doing that.
What would you see as agenda item number 1 and 2 for this administration? Were you in a position to work on DOJ or to oversee some of the lawfare, obviously, that has persecuted you? What would you see as some of the first and second agenda items down the list?
I mean, depending on which agency and department you're talking about, if you're at DOD, you want to do a reformatting of the budget immediately, overnight.
Interesting. Really? Yeah.
Yeah, because they're the biggest pot, $800+ billion, and we got to re-examine. I would call in every single CEO of every single big defense contractor. I called them on day one when I was chief of staff at DOD. 4 of them called me back, 1 did not. And I would bring them in and say, "Look, you guys do a lot of great stuff, but I can't keep watching literally billion-dollar projects blow up out of the sky, and there be no repercussions. Unacceptable. I need you." And I also need to look internally at DOD, at the R&D process, to be like, why are we giving out all of this defense money to these contractors when so many of them, unfortunately, don't deliver on time or under budget or actually just fail outright? So that's DOD. When it comes to DOJ, FBI, man, we just need an AG and an FBI director to go out there and say, we're just going to use the Constitution, whether you live in DC or Montana. It's not a hard task. And one of my recommendations would be, look, the folks at FBI headquarters, Hoover Building, there's like 8,000, 7,000, whatever the number is. I know CNN will be like, Kash said 7,000, there's only 6,800. But whatever the number is, I've always said this, close that building down and open it up the next day as the Museum of the Deep State. And let everybody walk the halls for free. And take the 50 people you actually need to run the FBI and move them to a basement, and take the rest of the cops, the agents, and send them across America to chase down sex slave traffickers, to chase down narco traffickers, to chase down terrorists and murderers and rapists and criminals. People keep asking me, how are we going to find all these illegals that President Trump wants to deport? Well, we have like 22,000 cops. It's a good start. Just half of them live in Washington. There's no need for things like that. When you go to the intel communities, you could take a similar focus. And I would say we need to start prioritizing intelligence collection methods, not on DEI, white rage, and climate change, but we need to focus on the threat of Iran, CCP, Russia, and terrorists, and returning our hostages. And we need to make sure our analytical community comes together and doesn't grossly, not digest, but misstate what the intelligence actually says to our leadership. That's the core of the problem for me. President Trump was failed, not just by DOJ and FBI. They were sort of more like the tip of the spear. He was failed at the core by the intelligence community and their analysts who bastardized the intelligence to change what it meant. And that led to everything from Russiagate to impeachment one with Charmella to the 51 Intel letter, Hunter Biden's laptop. So you need someone operating the intelligence community to return it to what it's supposed to be doing. And those are just some things that hopefully will happen with the new bevy of leadership.
Christopher Wray, does he keep his job or no?
You know, it's up to Trump. I would say, in my opinion, there's better folks for the president to have that job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about Hunter Biden and a pardon? Like, what do you think about that? I'm seeing that idea kind of bubble up that Donald Trump just like kind of shoves the past into the past and says, we're done with that. We're looking to the future. What are your thoughts on that?
Look, if the president wants to do that, that's his complete and total right. He received that mandate from the American people, and he's led a campaign about unity and moving forward. And, you know, if that's what needs to happen to do so, great. You know, at the end of the day, we have accomplished the goal behind President Trump's leadership of exposing the corruption surrounding the Hunter Biden stuff. All of it, right? Everyone now knows. And so do we want to exact more blood out of that stone? Or do we say maybe we want to go out and get the corrupt actors overseas that are looking to strike America's national defenses? We only have so many people and so much manpower to do all these things. And if you lift a set of people off one, then they can't do the other. And so I'm all about priorities. And to me, it's the defense of this country. And right now, here's the scary thing, Benny. Our enemies, our actual enemies, are going to use these next 2 months to the max because they did not want Trump in. And now we have been left open. And I don't know what Biden's announced. He's going on some world tour. That's not what he should be doing, in my opinion. He should be buckling down and preparing the transition like the one I led for President Trump at DOD, so that when we do that handoff, we are ready for the no-fail mission to continue. But that's what I'm focused on, what they're doing, and then what the Biden and Harris administration is going to do to actually let President Trump transition.
Very quickly, Kash, I can't move from this interview without asking about Juan Merchan this morning saying, I think I'm going to drop these charges. Jack Smith has been sent to a post in Alaska. He's done. The DOJ now winding down all of those prosecutions. I mean, man, brother, you have been on this program speaking the truth for years about what they're doing with political prosecutions to Donald Trump. Can you talk to me about the landscape as it stands right now? It's all doomed, I think.
Well, it's constitutionally doomed.
Yes.
There is an actual principle at the Department of Justice that has been followed for like 100 years. The DOJ cannot prosecute and investigate a sitting president. And it's not because Kash Patel said so. It's because it's been adjudicated to be a violation of the separation of powers, which is a constitutional bedrock principle, which prohibits the executive branch from attacking its own White House commander in chief. And the DOJ has had that policy on the books for, I think, like 100 years, but maybe 50. So those federal things should end. And similarly, in state court, when you have folks like Letitia James coming up to the podium yesterday and saying one of the most dangerous things I've ever heard in my life as a former national security prosecutor, we are going to use the law, we're going to use law enforcement to go on the attack. I can't believe I heard that come out of her mouth. Her investigation should be dropped for those similar reasons. And all of Juan Merchan and all these other cases should be dropped because America said Donald Trump is going to be our next president. We want him there free and clear of any of these things. And oh, by the way, there's that thing in the Constitution that prevents all that.
Should they be investigated themselves for collusion with the White House?
Here, look, you know what? If and when there's time, I got bigger things I would like to see happen. I want to make sure that folks like that never get back to Washington, D.C. because we fix the agencies and departments. If there's time on the back end and that's what the president wants, fine, sure, maybe. But for me, making sure that a DOJ never reverts back to this form, and it's not just the last 4 years. We're talking 40, 50 years, right? That's the win for the American people. Building in a constitutional basis there of people that will never let that happen again. That's Donald Trump's legacy to the American people. Not just I fixed it for 4 years. I fixed it for the next century. That's the win.
Kash, we deeply, deeply look forward to watching you play out the principles in your book, Government Gangsters. Here's Kash Patel's website. Here's his book. Kash has been, well, quite frankly, singing from the rooftops, even when it was very unpopular to do so, with the most badass photo maybe ever taken of anybody in Washington, D.C. So jealous of this photo, bro. I'm so jealous of this photo. And I think that I've wanted to Photoshop my head on your body so many times in this photo.
Let's do it. You'd look better.
I think that you are in for a wild ride. We want to just say thank you for coming on this program and making this all a reality. We have your back, brother, and go in there and slay some dragons.
Yeah, God willing, whatever they want me to do, I'll answer the call. And Benny, thanks for being courageous enough to report the truth when many and almost everybody didn't have the courage to do so.
Hey man, you know what? I tell you what, we just love this country. We got little kids, and we ain't moving anywhere. This is my only country. I got nowhere to go. So
yeah, you and I don't have to move anymore. Hollywood just gets to go. So maybe we'll put them on some flights outbound.
bro, they all said they want to leave anyway. They said they want to leave anyway. There's going to be free government flights all over the world. We can you can just shove Cardi B on one. It's easy. She wants to go. Whoopi Goldberg wants to go. They've promised they're going to leave. They've promised. Hunter Biden said he has to go. Hunter Biden said, I'm going to leave America if Donald Trump wins. So
I also know a lot of wealthy people who have private jets that I'm sure they could use those too.
You might not even have to. Yeah, you might not even have to pardon Hunter Biden. He said he's going to flee America if Trump wins. So there you go. Baby. Okay. All right, Kash. Exciting times. Godspeed, man.
Thanks, guys.